This is Merchandise Mart. Transfer to Brown Line trains at Merchandise Mart.
We're cheersing.
Doors
Cheers.
closing.
Now I'm drinking. This is not a visual thing, so you got to see exactly what we're doing by the words only.
Sure. Well, I mean,
Or is it visual? No, it's not. That's
Yeah,
just
visual.
different. Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I would have worn different shoes. Just kidding.
It's cool. I like the brown leather. Here's snowshoes. Go ahead, introduce yourself. We're already going, man. You're already talking. You're
already
ready.
talking.
You're ready to go.
I am ready to go. I just had 17 drinks.
Another
First one was
cheers.
so good, we wanted to do it twice.
Let's cheers again.
Cheers. Thanks, Felix.
No problem, man. So
Thanks for
welcome.
having me.
Yeah, not a problem, man. Welcome to the Wisendale Weekly Wrap Up. Again, there is video, audio. So this week I got with me first one of 2020 too. Sorry, not to cut you off.
Yeah.
Big
Thanks.
guest. Yeah,
Thank you for having me in the new decade.
not a problem, man.
Another 10 years of doing this, and I'll
Yeah.
be the first one of the 2020s. I
This
love
is
it.
true. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm Brett Taylor,
Mhm.
architect extraordinaire.
All right. Welcome again.
Well.
Well.
I haven't seen you so long.
God damn, what's
feels
going
like it's
on,
been like
man?
a month since I saw
know,
you last.
Jesus, cheers.
Cheers, man.
Salud.
I think it's been like, what's it been? When's the last time I saw you?
When we were yelling at people at Boss Bar,
Oh,
screaming at people, and then the guy was like trying to pass a drink by us and stuff like that.
Boss Bar. That was fun, man.
Well, shit, man. Well, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
What's
Thank you.
going on? First of all, introduce yourself really quick.
Oh, yeah. It's Brett Taylor,
Yeah.
architect extraordinaire, Chicago lover,
Cubs fan.
Cubs fan, Bears fan.
Yeah.
Don't like the Bulls because I grew up in Salt Lake City.
Fuck the Bulls.
Yeah, that's what I say.
I'm sorry, that's a strong stance, but still.
No, that's how I feel. I just didn't say it. I didn't
No.
say it as eloquently as you did.
Well, I mean, I'm from the Bad Boys, so you know.
Oh, right.
I
I'm from the Jazz Boys.
You know, I
like,
got John Stockton, Karl Malone, getting robbed every year.
I got robbed. You have the Jordan push off.
God.
I call it the curse now because I'm like, ever since Jordan pushed off on Brian Russell, you haven't done anything.
Well, I like when they used to when they had Mark Rubio, they would call him Juan Stockton.
Oh yeah,
It's like
Oh,
perfect,
yeah.
so good, so good. How long you been?
Was Juan Stockton?
Right?
Yeah.
They traded him though.
Yeah, well,
Things
that's
about
true.
Phoenix. So how long you been in Chicago now?
I moved in 2000. I moved in 2001. Holy crap! Yeah, it's been a while.
Damn.
I moved in 2001.
But then you moved out in
I
2014 and 15, 16.
Yeah, so I mean, I always consider. I mean, even when I lived in London, I still considered like Chicago like my home. Like I didn't.
Yeah.
Like
Do
we
you have
both
the timer,
like.
By the way, do
What's
you
that?
want to put the timer on?
Oh yeah. For how many minutes do you
Sorry.
want? 30 minutes of bliss is what. That's all that you can
What
handle.
you get? We're gonna actually.
30?
There's gonna be a cut here, and then we're gonna cut back into it in post production.
Got it.
So we're back in it. Go ahead.
So yeah, I mean, I always thought Chicago was my my home, even when I was living in London. I think we were still on property here. We were renting. There was a time where like my wife and I, we owned like a ridiculous number of condos. Like I don't know why, it was like the dumbest thing.
yeah.
And I think we were just praying like we were gonna get out of the bus, and like it just never happened. And like this shit's not getting any. It's not. We're not getting. It's not. We're not
Yeah.
like there's no magic happening. Like,
Yeah.
we got to just dump these things, man. It's like we could
You guys
probably-
been buying just as an investments, or
I mean, no. I mean,
just have
not, it was just like she had one that she had bought when she got out of school. I had one I
Yeah.
bought when I got out of school, and like she had one that like her and her brother had both owned. He was living there, and he moved to the suburbs, so she kind of took it over. So like it was like half owner. I mean, it was like a ridiculous. It was just all kind of like these weird happenstance things. And then because the London thing happened so fast, but between the time we're like, they kind of asked and like we were over there, it was. I mean, I can't remember how many, how long it was, but it was like, it was fast. I mean, it was a lot faster than. Like it made us comfortable because we had to get over there, we had to get our stuff over there, we had to put stuff in storage, rent out these places, find a place to live there. I mean, it was a thing.
a thing.
It was a thing. It was a thing. I was kind of surprised how fast we kind of figured it all out. And what's awesome is like we moved to we lived in area called Angel, which is like a subset of Islington, which is like N1 if people know London, which is basically central London. It's about as central as you can get. And it's like Angel is just like, it to this day, it gives us so much street cred. Like every time we're like, they're like, oh, where'd you live in London? It was like, we lived in Angel. And they're like, right. It's like, it's like, I think they think Americans, like, they're thinking you live on the West End, or someone's going to say, oh, I lived in Kensington, or I lived in Notting Hill, or like, you know, like you live in some cliche kind of district of London. And like, cause we lived in Angels, like everybody's like, oh
yeah, right. I've never been. I'm trying to go back to Milan for Design Week in April. Where do you suggest in that area, northern Italy, you think I should? Spain? I know you mentioned Swiss.
Northern Italy, I mean, I would go Cinque Terre is like must do. I mean, if you're in that area.
Well, you mentioned Croatia, right?
I mean, I was trying to give you some Italy stops first, but Croatia has my heart, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I must be like have some Croatian blood in me somewhere because every time I go to Croatia, I'm just like, these are my people. They love everything I love. They're by the water.
Yeah.
If you're a Game of Thrones fan, then it's like it just adds to the allure of like, because you know they filmed so much Game of Thrones in Dubrovnik.
What'd you think of Game of Thrones? The final season? Did you like it? Not like it?
You know, I've been. I mean, watching it in the anticipation. Obviously, I wish it. You know, I've kind of just assumed like, was it 6 where Cersei blew everybody up? Like, you didn't watch it?
I watched it, but it was always
whatever.
background.
Like whatever the season right before the last season was. I think it's 6 and then 7, whatever. You know, I'm okay. I was okay with most of it, but I think that they had a little bit of they have like a little bit of Sopranos in them. Like they just didn't really know how they wanted to end that whole thing. Like they kind of just, you know, it's tough.
It was a different
It's really
writer,
tough.
right?
It's really tough. Like you think about like the big endings that have happened recently, like the Piece de Resistance is like, I don't care what anybody says, like Endgame, like holy shit. Like that's 22 movies worth of content and they ended that shit perfectly.
What is it?
The Avengers Endgame.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not.
No, anyway, it doesn't matter. People will know what I'm talking about. No, but they took 22
to our million fans out there.
Yeah, millions of fans. I don't know. 20, but they took 22 movies. I mean, 22 movies and ended it. I mean, almost flawlessly. I mean, really.
Damn. Because there was 22 Avenger movies.
I mean, at least
Fuck. Wow.
When you keep all the subsets of like all the Thor movies and Captain America,
True.
Iron Man,
Got it. Understood.
Yeah. Yep. All the when you add all those up, because they did it, every one of those stitches together, and they have their own stories, but they stitch together too. But you look at like just what happened with Star Wars. Like, I mean, it's like every their mother's bitching about, you know, did this last one, like, was it too easy? Yeah. How they stitch everything together, or was like, could have been, you know,
the last one that came out was
the one that just like over Christmas or whatever.
Okay, that was the final.
I mean, they say it's the final, but
it's not gonna be a final, but yeah.
I mean, it's the final of that. It has to be the final of like kind of some bits of it, if people have seen it or not. Like,
okay, gotcha.
It's like, but it's still. I mean, I thought it was okay, but it was still clunky when you compare it to some of this other stuff. Yeah. I mean, it's hard. Do
you think I should have a lapel pin microphone, or do you think I should have a? What do you think? Because I got a stand, but in the mobile showrooms, like, how do I? You think it should just like come across the top, you know? But I got to carry all that stuff, you know.
Oh, that's true.
Well, anyways, a little housekeeping.
Have you heard of these inventions they call like backpacks or / roller bag? Like you can like actually put a couple things in them.
Never heard.
Roll them.
I should.
It's amazing. I mean, you don't have to carry stuff in your arms like a bundle of wood. Like you're like coming from, you know.
Well, I want my guests.
I would go to the well too, but I can't balance water on my head. So I got these. I got a couple of microphones and a laptop. It's either the wood, the rabbit.
Hey, it's very DIY here. You know, I want to give a shout out really quick to Andria World, Jess Weber for hosting us, as well as Mesh and Bone supplied us with some drinks, some bevies.
Mesh and Bone, you're my new best friends.
What are you drinking right now?
I am drinking
Sotal.
It came from Mexico. It is.
I think it's all the way around. Yeah, so the Sotal. That's the like tequila without the burn. I'm drinking the Araku, which is it's like whiskey and rum had a love child. Then we're also sipping on some sachu from Japan, which is a softer alternative to vodka with half the calories for all you Peloton lovers out there.
There you go.
You know?
Oh, those that didn't like bitch at that one commercial.
Yeah, right.
All those pencil dicks. They're like, oh. I mean, you can't have a commercial where you call your girlfriend / wife fat. Like, I don't think she called him fat. Like, she wanted the fucking bike. Get the fuck over it.
It's funny that they sat down and watched the movie of her transformation at the end of that commercial.
Yeah.
Like, what an asshole.
Yeah.
So we're just gonna sit down and watch the way
But she wanted it. Who cares? I think the best thing is like I don't know where the commercial is, but like they're like God bless the universe, like how like advertisers work. Because like there's some gin.
That's the aviation gin. Yeah, with Ryan Reynolds.
And like
where she's at the bar and the two girls are like staring at. Oh my God!
Love it.
Imagine the resources that his team had to pull to call the agent to do all of that.
Still,
and
man.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Worth it.
Fantastic.
Worth every second of it.
So talk about a little bit more about presentations, Second City, all that jazz you've done.
Yeah, I think that. I mean,
were you doing it as a creative outlet, or how did you?
I did it for sure. A creative outlet, like my. Not everybody can be like a star architect. I mean, I never really even tried. I mean, it was pretty clear when I was in architecture school. They're like, look, let me just be brutally honest with you, sir. You think you're gonna go and like create great architecture, then you're gonna be starving.
Right.
So, but I was fine with that. I always kind of, I think like a lot of architects, like I wanted to be an architect since I was like a really, really young kid. But I do think I am creative in a lot of ways, but in our profession, I think a lot of architects really kid themselves that they think they're super creative, and they.
Oh my God! Don't even get me started on that.
But the frank reality is that there's only. I mean, it's just like it's like anything in any profession. Like there are just legit few people in the world that can do it really, really well.
Absolutely.
And architecture is tough. Is architecture somewhat tougher because. You can be a great architect, but if you can't convince somebody to pay for it, then no one's gonna know. Mm-hmm. You could be a great architect in your fucking basement, but if you can't convince people to build your buildings,
what's conveying the ideas, right? Presentation, things like that.
Conveying the ideas, I think, is one thing, but it's a strength of conviction, right? It's the Frank Lloyd Wright is like what it's like he he's legendary for just convincing these really wealthy people to like. Buy into his idea. Like he didn't have design reviews with them. He's like, hey, do you want me to do this building? I'm just gonna do it, and then I'll tell you when it's done. It's like, could you imagine that in this day and age? Like, it's like the
like 8 months. Come back to the site.
Guys are like, hey, I want to come see some drawings. Like, no, like I'll tell you. Like when they're done, I'll show you the done drawings, and then I'll build it, and then you'll have a house. That's what you get. Like, and you pay me a lot of money, and then shut the fuck up.
Yeah,
it's like it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. But the thing is like when in my short stint really in SOM, and you see some of the really talented architects and designers there, and you see them in rooms, and you see how they convey these ideas. It's it really. You have to be creative. You have to be, you have to have kind of, it's kind of weird because like I think some architects get criticized for being aloof or whatever. It's like, but you kind of have to be, you kind of have to be just so kind of arrogant and aloof to like really convey the conviction that like, and it's not for everybody. And that's why it's like there's these guys that are doing these projects, like they're doing, they're hand choosing these jobs. Because they're also looking for the right fit of a client, right? I mean, it's not a volume business. It's not well, you come in the door and you want to do a high-rise residential, I'll just do it. Like they are like, no, look, I get it, but I don't need your work. Like,
Right.
I don't need your money. Like if you want to do the building my way, happy to have you. I mean, it still happens today, but it just happens a little more subtly than like Frank Lloyd Wright going, "Go fuck yourself. This is what you get."
But you've always worked for larger firms. I mean, how do you feel I mean, if you haven't been at a 30 or 50 person firm, what do you think the big difference is? I mean, obviously it's resources, it's personnel, but what do you think? Do you think the reach is kind of the main thing? I mean, do you guys really talk inner office? I know you guys have multiple offices across the world, but do you guys really intermingle any of that?
I think Gensler does. I mean, Gensler is definitely Gensler is much more decentralized. So I think they've purposely set up the organization to cross pollinate across offices, across regions, across kind of everywhere. So it isn't as hierarchical as like maybe some other firms are. Gotcha. But even SOM, when I was at SOM, their SOM still to this day kind of has, they have more or less 4, maybe now 5 major offices between, New York, Chicago, where SOM started, San Francisco, LA, and London, right? Okay. They have offices in the Middle East and China, but design's not generated out of those offices. Like those offices, they are serving more either BD roles or they're serving, boots on the ground kind of, support roles. Like there's not design partners there generating work, which is really how design firms see themselves. So, gotcha. But even those offices, I think and it's probably just a sign of the times and technology and everything else. Like I think everything kind of becomes more connected and more kind of flat that way. Yeah. But it's interesting because I don't necessarily categorize design, like I don't, in my mind anyway, I think of architecture firms and the way they operate, not so much by size, but like by literally like how they're categorized. Because if you, Jeannie Gang's office is obviously growing because as they are growing, but even at their smaller scale, even when they're smaller people, like the culture and how that firm operated is no different than like SOM. There's just high-end design firms just have a different culture. Their goals are different. The way they approach work is different. The people that they hire to work for them have a different passion. Not right or wrong, it's just different. And I think that it's, I actually have this conversation with people at Gensler all the time, is that I think Gensler is a solid architecture firm. But not in the interior universe, they're different, right? In the interior universe, they're top tier, like world renowned, high end design firm. Like they are it. Mm-hmm. They compete with anybody. But in the architecture universe, they're like, they just, they're newer at it. They haven't been doing it as long as the firm has been around, and they have work to do to kind of be in that design realm. Because it's a mentality, and maybe Gensler's culture just will never be that way. It's not like right or wrong, and you could still do great work in a different culture, but you just have, it's just different mentalities of like the people that work there. Yeah, absolutely. And what your what the ultimate goals are. Mm-hmm. I think it's the same way of like architects understand. I don't see that. Some people may see that as a criticism of Gensler, but it's like I don't see that the same way. I just think of it as like it's the same way of like people just being honest on their own skills, like whether you're going to be a great designer or not. Yeah. It's you can be creative. You can have you can understand what good design is and be a critique of it, but the nuance of being able to generate it, really truly being able to generate it from nothing and have a clear idea, and then have the physical skills, whether it's drawing or computer or whatever, to actually convey, to know how to convey that idea is, it's like you have to have a lot of skill to get that way. It's like not everybody could be Michael Jordan, It's true. I know how to play basketball. I do. But, I do. I used to be really good at free throws. I can't. It was like there's no way I was going to be Michael Jordan. It's just not going to happen. And it wasn't because I'm an old fat guy, but it was just it just wasn't going to happen.
So you're speaking of conveying ideas and being situationally aware. How does
always situationally aware?
How does Second City? How does that help you with the improv, with like work and being not only situationally aware, just socially aware, or just contextually? I just feel like that drops by the wayside when people get into presentations, and you know, people are so keen on hitting points that they don't read the room or whatever it may be.
No, I think like Second City, the one, I mean, I think that the skill I think that's different about Second City, to confuse it, you know, not to confuse it with like Toastmasters or other things that are taught.
Have you been to a Toastmasters, by the way?
Yeah.
I emailed them, and then I got some random email back. But is it worth it, you think?
I mean, for me personally, no. I mean, because it is more about prepared speeches, and like it's the stuff that I just hate.
Gotcha.
And so I'm like, fuck that. I'm not doing Toastmasters. But I think that like the people that are, I think it's like the nuances between the two. Because people ask me all the time, like, do you do Second City because you wanted help with public speaking? I'm like, well, no. Like that wasn't. Second City doesn't really help you with public speaking. I mean, it may help you with like
the screech,
with stage fright, but
no idea what that is right now.
It's weird. The Toastmasters is about public speaking. Straight up, that's all it is. It is literally about preparing a presentation and giving it whatever. Whether you're probably not rehearsing it, but it's even just like learning the, you know, I'm reading, I'm looking, or whatever. It's like it is really more like functionally.
Gotcha.
Like truly giving a speech. Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Second City. So this is a roundabout way to answer your question, but I think and I think it is about reading the room. Like Second City is all about, because everything you do is ensemble based, right? Everything you do is with a partner. That's like, it is like the real world, right? I mean, you have to learn to trust, and you have to listen, and you have to understand like what the people on the stage with you are doing, whether it's you and one other person doing like a scene or a bigger group of people doing a scene. You'll have to be kind of situation aware and unread what everybody else is doing, right? If you're going to be successful, and if you're not just like, you know, I was going to say monkey fucking a football on the stage, but that, because it's one of my favorite scenes. But it's but so like they actually do this exercise. It's actually really awesome. Like they Second City is known for doing all these warm up exercises, and one of the ones I really love is like you'll do one where you it has improv into it. Like you have someone who will have a ball in their hand. And they'll say it's like a red ball.
Yeah, red ball, green ball. I think.
Yeah.
Go
and
ahead.
you throw the ball. You know, you start with just one ball, red ball, and you just throw it back and forth to everybody. You know, and then you put another, and then someone starts with a different ball and throws it around. But so at some point you have like these 3 or 4 imaginary balls like getting passed around, but you have to make eye contact. You have to listen. You have to like know. You have to like, if you have a ball, you have to be patient to like see if someone's ready to like accept your red ball. You can't just fucking throw this thing at them.
Well, aren't they different sizes too?
Well, it can be. I mean, it's improv, so you can do whatever.
Oh, okay.
So
the one improv I did, it was different sizes. Like the blue ball was small, red ball was big, or some shit like that.
I mean, there's a lot of versions. Like there's that, and like there's other ones where you just do, you do like different types of cars, and people are saying those things, and like you're trying to remember the order that you say it in instead of being random. You have to remember, and then you purposely mix everything up, so like you're not just used to going, oh, that goes to my left. You're like, you have to really know the person. I mean, there's a lot of, so like Second City does a lot. I mean, you do a lot of that stuff over like time. So that's the whole point of it, is like reading the room, understanding where people are and what, and you know, how they are reacting to you. You learn it really quickly. Like listening is like key, you know, to being successful. Cause it's like, someone will be like, hey, I just went to Starbucks, and you're like, do you want a Big Mac? And you're like, the guy's like, well, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, dude. I just told you we're at a Starbucks. So it's like,
and then we were talking briefly about the Mark Twain Award for Humor.
Oh yeah, Dave Chappelle.
Dave Chappelle, great. Is he's the one that talked about cars? He's the one that did all the different versions of people in a car, right? Going to someplace. I don't know if you remember that from his last special.
Oh yeah,
it was like one of his specials.
It's kind of like he did it. Like Jerry Seinfeld's kind of done it.
Did he?
A couple of people have done it.
Yeah, talk about taking an idea such as AKA the podcast and Jerry Seinfeld, the comedians in cars getting coffee. Great idea.
Yeah.
Right. But obviously he had the means to do that. Shout out. We're looking for sponsors in 2020.
Yeah, we are.
We have a full schedule if anybody is interested in that. But anyways, he has the means to pull that off. I mean, that's excellent. The car, the comedian, all the cameras, like, I just thought it was a great idea. And then obviously Acura picked it up and now it's on Netflix. And
yeah,
I mean, that's a great idea from nothing, right? Just being a comedian and having the resources to do that, I think is interesting.
Yeah, but it's yeah, but I don't know if you need the I don't know if you need the resources.
You don't.
I don't know if it's like really about it, right? I mean,
we're talking on pawn shop microphones right now, so
that's true.
You know, and I got to get you a lapel microphone.
This
for
is
next time.
2 gold rings. That's what Felix gave up for this one microphone. Straight up trade.
Just traded. Traded my turntables. Hey, I'll give you a turntable. Give me 2 microphones.
Yeah.
So what? So the Mark Twain. So you were saying about how Mark Twain got his name. What's his original name? Can you tell us about that?
I don't remember. No, it's Samuel Clemens.
Samuel Clemens. There we go.
So he was he born in Missouri? He had an interesting life, right? He's obviously more, lived in the South because of all his, that's where his books. He was this left school early. These, anybody who's done a biography on him will know all this stuff. But I think
how many people do you think have really read a biography on Mark Twain?
I don't think a lot of people read the full biography, but I think that it's a kind of the known fact because of his work, because of the characters in his books are kind of emblematic of like his life. Like
okay.
Like Huck Finn and these guys, like they were on riverboats and like they like did all this stuff. So like I think it's he used firsthand experience to kind of create these characters as well. So
gotcha.
So I think that's why. I mean, that's probably as little as people know, and I'm probably fucking it up right now anyway. So fake it till you make it. No, but the thing I thought was interesting, I always came up with his name was the when they were, when he was on the boats, like how you measure the depth is like you put a string and you would measure how many fathoms you were till you weren't going to run aground. And for whatever reason, I didn't dive into this, but they had different names for numbers. So the number 2 was, you pronounce it Twain. So like when you're doing the marking the fathoms, you would use a string, and when you would mark it when it hit, and you would just say mark, and you would say Twain if it was 2 fathoms. So like that's how you were telling the captain that he was he was not going to run aground. So he probably said the words Mark Twain like hundreds of times. So
that's
it just stuck with him. So he's like, that's a pretty good name for an. Now you can't even do it, right? It sounds weird, but it's like it's funny when you look back at these things.
I never knew that. And then what staying on comedy, what are you liking these days, or what are you watching, or who are you liking?
I'm so in love with Bill Burr. I mean, when you look at his career too, like when you look at him writing for Conan, and like he slugged it out, right? And now
Boston guy.
Yeah. You know what I appreciate about his stuff is like I'll just say it up front, like because in the world that we're in, and it's like you have all the you have Me Too, and you have rightfully. I mean, I'm not trying to, but
I got you.
He just in a funny way kind of just gives that one other perspective that like kind of everybody's almost a little too skittish to kind of talk about. The only other guy that was kind of doing it was like Louis C.K., and then the guy just ended up being I think he was just a lunatic, because it's like he wasn't really even, you know what I mean? He was more, honestly, I don't even think that like he was like so much on like the Me Too, like he's on like Weinstein.
I know. I'm laughing because of the Weinstein. I've been reading some things on the Weinstein. That dude was a trip.
I know, but it's like, but I get it. It's like you have that, and you have like the Matt Lauer shit. I mean, it's like this shit's really serious.
It is serious,
but that's why I think you need at least one guy like Bill Burr to be like to just be on that side of it.
Yeah.
Because like I watched the Michelle Wolf just put a special out on Netflix, which is, I think she's fucking She
Awesome.
is fucking amazing.
Awesome, for sure.
But like her stuff is exact. I mean, literally her stuff's almost exact opposite of Bill Burr. I mean, it's like, you know, it's the same humor.
Yeah.
It's the same kind of like taking these concepts that everybody like is like a little skittish about, but she does it. She's like a female Bill Burr, really. I mean, it's like those two missed the boat. They should have got married and like had some, because then they would have had some fucked up redheaded kids.
Right,
and, like,
exactly.
the world would have been a better place for it.
Yeah.
So yeah,
So funny.
yeah. I'm a huge fan of like, I think because of it too, I'm like a huge fan of British comedy.
Yeah.
Like I love Ricky Gervais. I mean, everybody like he has like obviously he's over right now because of the Golden Globes. You know, and all
Which
stuff.
which
But,
I don't know.
But his comedy is so much more than that. Like his stand-ups are just so phenomenal.
Yeah,
like,
they are good.
His stuff, it's like his real comedy, like his stuff that he's really out there selling shows. Like the thing why he's really famous is amazing.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if you know who Jimmy Carr is. Like
No.
he's a famous British comedian. Like he's just, I mean, but like his shows, like you couldn't do his shows in the U.S. Like he will go and he would be like, he will open up to the audience. Like he's amazing at like hecklers.
Oh, okay. Nice.
And he was like telling, I was watching this show the other day and he was like, someone was heckling him and they're like, oh, do you want my comeback? And I was like, yeah. He's like, well, I have to scrape it off your mom's teeth first.
Oh my god.
But it's like British. I mean, it's like no one bats an eye at it, right? He like you can say that, you can just say it because no one cares. It's almost like they're so super evolved in Europe. Like it's like they're just beyond the Puritan, Christian bullshit. Like they've got so far past it.
Yeah.
That we just still can't get out of our way. It's
what
like
do you
crazy.
What do you think? Well, actually, I should time out and sidebar here. My friend wanted me to correct and what I said from an episode a while ago about CWA not talking about sexual harassment in the Me Too movement, because I said it was CWA, but it's actually crew. I made the correction on the blog post, but not on the actual podcast. So I just wanted to correct that because she's been fucking heckling me about it. But anyways, I know.
All right. Well, at least you know you have some fans, buddy.
Yeah, see, people are listening. We're talking about that, so how do you view the Midwest? I mean, do you think the Midwest is still conservative, or do you think that it's ever going to break out? Now that more people are coming here, now that tech jobs are coming here, do you think the culture will change at all?
I mean, not from the Midwest. I mean, like Chicago's always going to be. I mean, just look at it. Like it's just not. It doesn't take rocket science. Like all the major metropolitan areas are all like super liberal, like more understanding than not.
Yeah.
It's just there's a lot of theories and a lot of stuff. I mean, I've seen it's now we're getting close to another. I guess is this an election year now officially?
Yes.
Fuck. Is it really? No. I guess it is, isn't it? Is it November this year?
Yeah. Well, because I just learned today that Michael Bloomberg and Uncle Donnie are doing ads out of Super Bowl this year. So, 60 seconds.
Wow.
60 seconds, yeah.
Both pulling out their big triggers.
I know. I heard that
oh, my God.
a 30-second ad cost, I think it was $5 million or 5 point something.
Right.
Like,
that sounds right.
Fucking crazy, man. That's so much dough.
That's crazy, but Trump doesn't even have it. He's borrowing it. Like,
it's true.
Bloomberg is just like shaking out a couch.
Has it. So you were saying earlier about the Trump. I'm sorry. Did we finish that one? Midwest.
No, I'll just finish this quickly. I mean, I was like no, I just think like the two points that always resonate with me is one is when you look at everybody always shows so I saw this map recently. Like you show the map that shows like where everybody votes by land, by land area or by county, right? So it shows like if you squint your eyes, it's like it's all red, and then there's like these little pockets of blue, right? California, Chicago, New England, a little bit of Florida, and then the middle's it's like this sea of just fucking red. Because it's all because they're what they're showing is like they're showing how the electoral college voted like by land, right? It's land
Yeah.
area.
Yeah.
But it's not number of votes. It's not population driven.
Sure.
So like there's another map that came out that like showed it showed, I think it was bubbles by number of people, and then you see it on a map, and you see like then you really I've never saw it before. You see visually how blue the country really is.
Yeah.
Because when you look at by number of people,
yeah,
it's really, really blue.
yeah,
But when you look at it by the electoral it's one thing. And then the other quick point, because I just got to make this, because it's like, I think people have to understand these things, right? Is because I do have so many friends that are right, and because of the military and everything, is that small towns in these smaller communities, the police communities, all these other things, the pressure to be accepted, the pressure to be on message is enormous. And I think the people that live in the blue and the liberal people, because there's so much about inclusion and wanting to understand the perspective and all this stuff, that people forget that like there's so many other places where like you can't be that guy, that woman, that person in high school that like has this really weird view. Like you can't be like in the middle of Oklahoma and go, well, maybe we shouldn't own guns.
Oh, gotcha.
Like, cause you can't, no one's going to be that person because the social aspects of it are so dire.
Yeah.
It's like you're just a human. And at the end of the day, you're just a human trying to fit in with other humans.
Yeah.
You just have a couple people that will talk to you at a bar.
Yeah.
Or talk to you at dinner, or have lunch with you in high school. Like,
yeah.
So it's like the smaller the communities and like and the tighter they are, like it's harder. It's just harder to kind of break out of that. And I think the more, this is why I adamantly follow some of my friends that I adamantly detest the things that they say. It's only because it's like, I just feel like if I don't understand that motivation, if I don't at least try, then you can't make the counter argument. You can't just go, well, you're
on the other side.
wrong. You're wrong because you're wrong.
Yeah.
Like I know you're wrong, but I can't. But it's like you don't care what I think. It's like I have to understand like what's really driving that motivation. I think that's interesting to me.
Yeah.
And that's probably because it's probably the architect in me. It's probably just from the nature of how I grew up and like always splitting two rails between being so in the military and so much in architecture that this is actually funny. When I was in school, I went to a military college called Norwich. I get a shout out, Norwich University, best school ever.
Where's that?
It's in Vermont, just turned 200 years. Not many schools that are 200 years old.
My college doesn't exist anymore. Shout out Harrington College for all you Harrington grads.
Oh yeah.
Go ahead, keep going.
No, but like literally, so I went to military school, majored in architecture. So this is like, no shit. This is my day. I would go to architecture. I'd go to an architecture class, dressed in uniform, with all these kids that are just in architecture school. They were in the military or on the military side of the campus, and they would just be like, look at you, fucking core pussy. Yeah. They're like, what a tool you are, just wearing a uniform. Like they couldn't understand it. Like they would like literally, like the uniform, being in a uniform in a creative environment just like would set them off. It was like, It was crazy. I didn't see it coming. I mean, it didn't affect me in a huge way, but it definitely put me on a little edge. Like it was like at the beginning was like, I didn't see that coming. And so then I got all these guys like giving me shit, like you're a fucking fascist, like fucking pussy, like what are you wearing a uniform for? And then I would leave that environment, right?
Yeah.
And I'd go see I'd be hanging out with the military school guys, and I would be like doing something. I'd be like sitting around drawing like something creative, like doing a painting or something. They're like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
You're like, "You fairy, you
fag."
Right,
I was just gonna say that.
It's like literally. I'm like, and we literally. It's like I literally like if I was like on this fence. Yeah. And it's like wearing a uniform, doing creative shit. Like it's like like I could do the most creative shit I wanted, but they just couldn't get over the uniform.
Yeah.
The other one, I could have like the best uniform, and like I was highly respected in the I was a cadet colonel, the highest ranking student in the whole school. Like I excelled in the military side, but every single time that someone would see me doing something creative and on the military side, like why you waste your time with this shit?
Right.
Like what the fuck?
Yeah.
They're like, you're the best marksman we have. But you still like to do like, you know, freehand drawing. Like why?
Yeah.
And I'm like, because I like it. Like
Yeah.
screw you. Like go stand out there and I'll shoot at your ear. Like fuck you. Like,
Yeah.
you know, it's like
it
was crazy.
The one comedian who I like now, not that I like now, just that's got on my radar is Tom Segura. I don't know if you've heard of him.
No.
Oh my God, he's
I'll
got
look
a
him up.
fucking great Netflix. It's all about like him being American, but him also having Spanish, like actual Spaniard background.
Right, okay.
So he draws those comparisons between the two. It's hilarious. His Netflix special has been fucking great. So
I
what?
I think it's important, right? It's
so-
important to have different perspectives. It's just in general for everything.
Absolutely, and it's not like we can't talk about it. It's okay you have a different perspective. I think that's the difference. Like people really think like if you're on the other side of the fence, like you can't talk to the other person. It's like no, like let's talk, whatever. It's not like you're really threatening each other's lives. I mean, I guess that's weird.
No.
But, you mentioned earlier about the 2,000 foot building in. Is that across a nation, or can you expand on that? Can you explain that a little bit more? 2,000 feet is the highest.
No, there's like
height.
FAA. I mean,
FAA.
I don't know why. I mean, I actually don't know. It's probably a bunch of people sat in a room and said, "What's the safety of tall buildings?" And someone just decided, whatever, 2,000 feet at the time sounded like
tall
enough.
Yeah.
Like who's gonna want to go? Who in their right mind is gonna want to go past 2,000 feet? Like, what was the Sears Tower at the time? When they probably wrote the law was 14, whatever it is. I should know. Fuck, 14, whatever it is. And
So should I.
Everybody's like, fine. Like we'll just round it up to 2,000 and set the limit. So I just don't think. Because the reality is like if the Freedom Tower wasn't gonna get approved. They weren't giving it approval to go over 2,000 feet. So
yeah, what would,
like if there's
right?
one,
yeah.
if there's one,
what
where,
acceptance?
If there's one where someone's like, hey, we're gonna give the Middle East the middle finger and build this at 3,000 feet, then they'd be like, yeah, hell yeah. But they didn't. They wouldn't let him do it. They wouldn't let him do it. So then they for right or wrong, they did their 1776. Which is like. I don't know. I worked at the firm at the time, so maybe I shouldn't be. I mean, I think it's a decent building. It's a
decent building for sure.
It's actually, though, the whole site, now that it's all done and everything, the site is really, really powerful. I mean,
gorgeous.
Like,
yeah,
one of the best. I mean, outside of like the only three memorials that have ever like really affected me in like a really visceral way. The first one was the Holocaust Museum in DC. If you haven't been to DC, you should go. As an American, you actually really should go.
Yeah, no, I went.
And if you haven't been to that museum,
2012.
Jesus Christ, you got to go to that museum. If you're in DC, if I find somebody that goes to DC and they're like, I'm like, did you go to the Holocaust Museum? I'm like, well, I didn't make it. I'm like, well, then you're an asshole. Because like seriously, because it is the coolest. It is the coolest museum almost ever invented. The memorial site is like probably the second, and the third for me also in DC. And this is only because it's somewhat because military background, but if you understand the story, it's actually really powerful. Is the Vietnam Memorial in DC done by oh crap.
Oh well, you better say it now that you built it all up.
Yeah, whatever. I can't remember her name, but no. But what's interesting is she's Vietnamese American, right? And there was a design competition, and like there's a huge documentary done on the whole process of like selecting her and actually building this thing, and everybody was like, they were just like, it's too simple. Like it's just like no one really kind of got it at the time, and you look at it now and like look at how much like how that's resonated with so many people like that. The whole idea of like this mirrored kind of black, just a simple idea and the fact that it changes elevation, all the names are on there. It's just like, I mean, it's impossible not to get. You probably don't know a single name on that list. I mean, some people obviously do, but like the normal person isn't going to go down there because they know a name.
Right.
But it's impossible to not stand there in the middle of that thing and just feel the power of that memorial. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And if you walk up to it on your way there, you don't even feel like, you don't even realize you're about to fucking cry like a baby in the middle of there. You really don't see it coming.
Yeah. The Calatrava building next to the Freedom Tower is gorgeous too. That's a gorgeous building.
Yeah, the terminal,
obviously.
the whatever. Yeah, the
Amtrak. Not Amtrak, Metro.
No, he only spent like $7 billion more than he was supposed to. Good for him.
Fuck the pathway.
Yeah.
So I used to live in Jersey City, and I would take the path over to Wall Street there, and I used to do. I think I did 2 months at a firm on Broadway and Wall Street.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Right there.
Right there, smack there. I would call Irish markets and try to sell a visa to people.
Of course.
Yeah, right. So what do you think about the market of the city right now? Like, how do you see the buildings going up? Like, what are you thinking? I mean, obviously, we talked about the conservative as far as the Midwest. I mean, do you think people are really trying to push it right now?
To be honest, like to continue that, I mean, it's like I'm really kind of buying what the mayor's selling. To be honest, I kind of admittedly like dipped my toe into this thing, Invest Southwest, but the idea of like the idea that. And I kind of agree with this. And the more I've kind of thought about this since in like the couple months since she kind of unveiled this idea.
Are you doing this on your own fruition, or are you doing it because of your job? I guess
No. I think here's how I'll preface this thing is that because this is where I have like an extreme bias is that I not born in Illinois, not born in Chicago, didn't go to like school here, but pick Chicago. I mean, literally have lived and been to what people would say are some of the best cities in the world. And to the hands down, and for me, like this Chicago still to me is like, it's like the fucking best city in the world. I'm not even just saying that just to say it. I literally believe it. Like I uprooted my whole life to move here. Like I gave other places a shot. Lived in London. Like been in all over the Middle East. Been in Dubai. Been blah 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 blah. Long list. I've literally been to 49 to 50 states. I mean, I've been everywhere. And so I desperately, any way that this city can like thrive and be a great city, I'm on board. So like. I don't. It's not for a profession, but like I actually when you start, so like because I have this bias, when you start hearing about like people are leaving Illinois and leaving the city, it's like in huge amounts of numbers, like crazy numbers. It like I'm like let's solve the fundamental problem of how do we not the lightning rod problem of like taxes and blah blah blah, because it's not that. It's just it fucking isn't. I don't care what anybody says. Like this city's great, and there's a lot of other reasons why people want to stay here, and so we're not serving a certain number of people. We're not serving communities right, or whatever it is. So like the fact that she's got this plan and like is
she correcting that plan? Do you feel or
no? She came up with this plan. Like she's picking
gotcha.
This thing called Invest Southwest. It's like. They found 10 neighborhoods, like within the city that like are these like, it's like her point is, and this is what I was saying, and I agree with, is like the downtown and the West Loop and like Lincoln Yards and 78 and all this shit, it's gonna take care of itself.
Absolutely,
right?
Yeah.
Like the city doesn't need to do anything. Yeah. And in some ways, the city just needs to like kind of get out of the way. And for the most part, she kind of, to her credit, like as she took this kind of over, she tweaked it a little bit, probably because she had to politically. But like in the end of the day, like now the city's just like go have at it. Like We gave you the TIF money. We, like, do what you need to do. Make those developments great. Like,
Yeah.
But it's going to happen. Now the city's out of the way. But like these outskirt neighborhoods, like Pullman's like this great example, right? Of like a little bit of investment, a little bit of like planning. Now this community is kind of growing. Like, let's do that. Like, that's how you're going to get people to move back into the city. Like, make these communities work for everybody. It's like, not everybody wants to live in fucking Lincoln Park or like whatever the new fucking gentrification, like, what is it, like Logan Square, Pilsen, like the cliche, like, let's find these other communities and figure out what they need to be vibrant again and like what they need to be good. So you know what, if you want to funnel public money into some areas, and I'm for it, man. Let's like make these let's keep people living in these communities and make them hubs, and like, let's build more transit and like get more people connected to those places, and like, have a strip of bars that everyone wants to go to in Austin or whatever, you know what I mean? Yeah. Because it's like people will go. Like, I lived in Bucktown way before it was cool. I mean, I lived in Bucktown when it was I lived 2 blocks from the Damon Blue Line stop, and it was like 2 blocks of hell. Yeah. I mean, for those who can't see me or whatever, it's like, I'm a big dude. I wasn't, he's like,
for the podcast listeners on iTunes,
yeah, whatever. Like, people could be listening on the train.
They could be listening on the train. The intro's on the train. But go ahead, keep going. But
I'm just saying, like, it sucked. I mean, it was miserable, dude. And I was like, I gotta. That's why I left and went to Wrigleyville. I was just like, I want to go where I can just drink beer and no one bugs me. But,
yeah. So do you think?
But it didn't take that long. It really in the the timeline of a city, like it didn't take that long to turn Bucktown around. It didn't take that long. Like, it didn't take that long to get Logan Square turned around. It didn't. So it's just, you just need to, if you direct the investment correctly. I mean, it doesn't actually take that long. 10 years, 10 years is not that long.
It's not that long, as we're in a new decade.
Yeah. Well, this is also why I'll give the one thing the city did to me, which is completely disappointing, and it's so short-sighted, is like they should have done everything they could to get the fucking Olympics. Like, what a mistake. Biggest mistake ever. Like, I lived in Salt Lake City when they got the 2002 Olympics. They tried the 1998, and they got busted for doing what everybody was doing and paying people off. But they got their hands slapped or whatever.
Wait, who got their hands slapped? Utah or Chicago?
Utah.
Oh, okay.
No, because Utah, and for the Winter Olympics, they were competing. I can't remember what city. They were competing at some city for the 98 Olympics, and they went all in, and like they lost it. But then they went after the 2002 and got it. But here's the thing: it's like they went after the 2002 Olympics, they got it. They invested smartly in like infrastructure, in transit, in fiber, in like all this stuff that you needed to like get the city unlocked for the next. You know what? You know how many cities in the U.S.? No, honestly, in 2008, 2009, 2010.
For those who can't see, Brett's getting excited.
No, in 2008, 2009, 2010, Salt Lake City actually had growth in the recession. It's one of the few cities in the U.S. that actually saw job growth. It saw economic growth. It didn't have not a downturn. It was still growing. Why? And everybody's like, Mormon money, like it's a classic, right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, the Mormon money. They didn't. They just had everything in place. They used all the Olympic shit and had everything ready to go.
Yeah.
They had future-proofed the city, so when all the other cities were crumbling and falling apart, and the businesses were left standing, they're like, well, where the fuck do we go? Everything is fucking going nuts. And Salt Lake City's like, hey, we're here. We got clean water. We got a bunch of Wi-Fi.
Come on in.
We just changed the alcohol laws. You actually get a decent beer. Like, come on over. We've got great skiing. We got a bunch of lakes you can go at. Like, we're great.
Yeah, like I said, we went to the Sundance Film Festival. It was a great time. Great town. Salt Lake City, Park City. I mean, there was one thing. We went to a club. R.L. Grime was out there, and we went to the club, and the bartender was trying to act like it was the coolest shit ever, and he was on top of the bar trying to pour shots, but he had the fucking regulator on
right.
Because
you have the
bottle.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God. My girl and I were like, what the fuck is this? Because he would like try to pour shots, but then he'd pour just a little bit. Then he'd have to tip the bottle back and then tip it back again. Oh my God. So fucking funny. So funny. Well, 2019, 20.
Just pop that thing.
I know. That's what I was saying. Get fired, whatever. 2019, 2020, as we wrap up here, any comments or outlook, anything inspirational for the millions of fans we're listening to?
Let's see, 2020. Let's see, we're supposed to be at Jupiter now. We're not, but flying.
What
cars.
do you mean? Wait, why are we not at Jupiter?
Stanley Kubrick, man. He like 2020. It was
Who
like
is this?
He did 2001, and then 2020 is like a sequel. Like we're way behind the times in that shit.
Yeah,
you gotta get up on your sci-fi, Felix. Come on, buddy.
I know. I need to. Anyways.
No, I'm saying. No,
anyways.
No. So, look, I think that I think 20.
We should have just stared at each other for like 5 minutes right there.
5 minutes of just loving you like this. Love you, Felix. I like it better when your hair's down.
Right? I know. I should have let my hair down.
No, I think you know what's awesome about 2020 is that it just gives us one step closer to the rational people running this world.
Oh, Jesus. Going deep.
No, look, I think you know what's funny is like the more and more you look at it is the millennial generation. They're actually the ones who are gonna pull this shit together.
Agreed.
They're really. I mean, it's like they're taking all the hits for all this shit, and they're the ones who are actually. I mean, I wish it was ours, but it's just timing just wasn't right. I mean, they're gonna pull this shit together. I mean, I guarantee it. You just really feel like it's like it. You know, everybody's is in their mid-30s now. They're like they're all about to hit the stride of like superpower, like where they're gonna be controlling some major shit and they're gonna not put up with this shit. I mean, it's really gonna go hand in hand, and it's like. That's funny. In one of my Second City shows, we had a joke where we actually used the term "okay boomer." You know, there was I don't even know where this was. Some fucking needle dick. Like he's like, if you say "okay boomer," it's racist or something. Like he was trying to pull some big ass card. Like, no, dude. Yeah. Like you fuckers have been blaming the millennials for everything you can think of because you can't go to Applebee's anymore. It's fucking millennials ruined your fucking Chili's and Applebee's, so you couldn't have your fucking mistress meet you there while you're fucking two-timing your wife because you're a bunch of lazy ass fucked up baby boomers. I guess the mistress does
get Applebee's, right?
Yeah, the mistress does get Applebee's. I'm serious. I'm like, I hate baby boomers so bad. I tell my parents all the time, so you just know I'm equal opportunity hater. You guys fucked up everything. The more you look at it, I'm like, what in the fuck were you guys doing?
Right?
You guys are drinking and driving, smoking at the wheel, raising kids, and you just kept doing it all the way till you're 70.
A lot of people made it, though. You know?
No, they made it just fine. They're all doing great. Like, they're doing fine. You know, Social Security's fucking paying their shit. Medicare's paying their shit. And they're like, yeah, but socialize anything. Fuck that. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Right. That's how you got there.
What are you fucking talking about? Like, the whole reason you have a fucking freeway to drive your fucking ass around is because of socialized fucking government, asshole.
So, should we end on that? Do you want to cheers on that one?
Yeah, cheers. Boomers suck.
Cheers, boomers. Salud. Thank you again.
Your safety is important.
Thanks for time.
If you observe unattended packages, vandalism, or suspicious activity, inform CTA personnel immediately.